Namaste to all. Hope all of you might have gone through my previous video. In this part, we'll be discussing about colligative properties of solutions. Dilute solutions of non-volatile solutes exhibit a certain set of properties which are independent of the identity of the solute, and their values depend only on the molar concentration of the solute in the solution. These properties are collectively called colligative properties. Colligative properties may thus be defined as the properties of dilute solutions. Remember, it is a dilute solution of non-volatile solutes, that is, a non-volatile solute is present in it, whose value depend upon the concentration of the solute particles in the solution, but does not depend upon the individual identity of the solute. Once again repeating it, colligative properties may be defined as the properties of dilute solutions of non-volatile solutes whose value depends upon the concentration of the solute particles in solution, but does not depend on the individual identity of the solute. So as written here, properties which depend on the number of solute particles irrespective of their nature. That is, it depends upon the concentration of the solute particles. That is why it's written here, depends upon the number of solute particles irrespective of their nature are called colligative properties. So what are the various colligative properties? There are 4 colligative properties that we'll be discussing in this unit. The various colligative properties are: the first one, relative lowering of vapor pressure, which I had discussed in my previous video. Second one, elevation of boiling point. Third one, depression of freezing point. And the last one is osmotic pressure. So we'll be discussing each colligative property one by one. Relative lowering of vapor pressure. We have learned in the last video how to derive what is the relative lowering of vapor pressure. Why is the vapor pressure being lowered when a non-volatile solute is added to a solvent? Lowering of vapor, relative, sorry, here relative is not written, relative is there. So it's a mistake here. Relative lowering of vapor pressure depends only on the concentration of the number of solute particles, and it is independent of their identity. Let me remind you and tell you that relative lowering of vapor pressure is a colligative property, but lowering of vapor pressure is not a colligative property. So here it is actually relative lowering of vapor pressure. Consider P1 naught, the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. So let P1 naught be the vapor pressure of the pure solvent. P1 naught minus P is a lowering of vapor pressure due to the presence of the non-volatile solute, the reason for which I have discussed in my previous video. P1 naught minus P by P1 naught is a relative lowering of vapor pressure. That is what we have learned last time, the last video, is the relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of the solute. That is what we have learned, which is another statement of Raoult's law. From the relative lowering of vapor pressure, we can determine the molar mass of the solute. So we are going to learn the determination of molar mass of the solute from relative lowering of vapor pressure. So relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of the solute. You know what is mole fraction? X2 is the mole fraction of the solute, and X1 is always that of the solvent. It can be X1, X2, or in some textbooks it's written as XA, XB. Both are same. I've repeated it. I'm repeating it once again. X2 is equal to N2, number of moles of the solute, divided by total number of moles. N1, as you know, is the number of moles of the solvent. N2 is the number of moles of the solute. Number of moles is mass by molar mass. Mass by molecular mass or mass by molar mass. It is always better to say mass and not weight. That is, N1 is equal to the mass of the solute divided by the molar mass of the solute. N1 is equal to W1, which is the mass of the solvent by molar mass of the solvent. N2 is equal to the mass of the solute divided by the molar mass of the solute, which we have learnt it earlier. So X2 is equal to N2 by total number of moles by total number of moles. N1 is equal to W1 by M1. N2 is W2 by M2. Again, N2 is equal to W2 by M2. Hope this is clear to you. Now, the solute is very less in concentration. It's a dilute solution. So, in the denominator part, the number of moles of the solute can be neglected or ignored. So, W2 by M2, the denominator part can be neglected. So, this becomes X2, that is a mole fraction of the solute, is equal to W2 by M2 into W1 by M1. Or the relative as we have learnt earlier, the relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of the solute. So, mole fraction of the solute is W2 by M2 into W1 by M1. And W1 is the mass of the solvent. W2 is the mass of the solute. The one that is shown here is just the opposite. M1 is the molar mass of the solvent. M2 is the molar mass of the solute. So from this it is clear that the relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the number of moles of the solute in the solvent, number of moles of the solvent. W2 by M2 becomes the number of moles of the solute which is present in the solvent. So this is also equal to molality, which we'll be discussing it later on. Next, the second colligative property that we are going to discuss is elevation of boiling point. The second colligative property is elevation in boiling point. We can see here a beaker is taken and water is taken in the beaker. It is boiling. That is a pure solvent. Water here is considered as a pure solvent and it is boiling. A solution. When does a solution or solvent boils? A solution boils at the temperature at which its vapor pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure. When you are supplying heat, the solvent gets changed into vapor and the vapor pressure increases. Slowly the vapor pressure increases and the temperature at which the vapor pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure is called the boiling point of a liquid. That is, here also we know that the solvent is taken and to the solvent, here this is the case of a pure solvent. To this pure solvent, if you are adding a non-volatile solute, what happens? The lowering of vapor pressure takes place. When there is lowering of vapor pressure, then what will happen? More heat should be supplied for the vapor pressure to become equal to the atmospheric pressure. And hence there will be an elevation in boiling point. That is what we are going to discuss now. So here, as I have told you earlier, there is a pressure being exerted above the liquid which is called the vapor pressure. When this pressure becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure, the liquid will boil. Now we are adding a non-volatile, you can see the green balls there, non-volatile solute is being added to the pure solvent. When a non-volatile solute is added to a pure solvent, what will happen? The vapor pressure lowers, the reason which we have discussed earlier. So temperature has to be increased to increase the vapor pressure. Hence, till it becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. So there will be an elevation in boiling point. So boiling point of a solution That solution means in a solvent there is a non-volatile solute is always higher than that of a pure solvent. Now here we can see the variation of vapor pressure of a pure liquid and its solution containing non-volatile solute with the temperature can be represented in this graph. That is the variation of vapor pressure of a pure liquid and its solution containing a non-volatile solute with the temperature. Vapor pressure is plotted against temperature and we can study the variations. That is, after adding the solute, what happens? How is the elevation in boiling point taking place? This curve that you can see is, the first one you can see is a curve of a pure solvent. This red line is the curve of a pure solvent. Here at each temperature, from this plot, at each temperature the vapor pressure, at each temperature you can find the vapor pressure and it is at TB0, that is at temperature TB0, that this vapor pressure will become equal to the atmospheric pressure. So the boiling point of the solvent is TB0 because it is at this temperature that the solvent vapor pressure of the solvent becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. You can find here the red line touching the atmospheric part. The second curve you can see is that of the solution. And here, when once a solute is added to the solution, the vapor pressure decreases. So we have to increase the temperature, or you have to supply more heat. So in this case, the solution will boil at a higher temperature, which is shown here in the graph. It is TB. It is only at TB that the vapor pressure of the solution becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure. Hope it is clear to you. So here TB naught is the boiling point of the solvent. TB is the boiling point of the solution. Sorry, here it is written solute, it is solution. Elevation in boiling point. What is the elevation? That is delta P, the difference. The delta TB is, it is represented as delta TB is equal to, the higher one is TB minus TB naught. Delta TB, that is elevation in boiling point, depends on the lowering of vapor pressure, that is delta P. So delta TB is directly proportional to delta P. While delta P, as we have learnt earlier, the lowering of vapor pressure is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solute. Once again repeating, delta TB, the elevation in boiling point, is directly proportional to delta P, and according to Raoult's law, delta P is directly proportional to XB or X2. You can take it as X2 or XB, the mole fraction of the solute. Therefore, delta TB is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solute, that is X2. Now you know what is X2. X2 is equal to, it is N2 by total number of moles. N2 by total number of moles. So delta TB is directly proportional to X2, or delta TB is equal to a constant K into XB, and XB can be written as N2 divided by N1. N2 divided by N1, as I had mentioned earlier, N2 divided by N1 can also be written as N2 divided by the mass of the solvent into the molar mass of the solvent, which becomes equal to the number of moles, that is N2. Delta TB, that is elevation in boiling point, is directly proportional to the lowering of vapor pressure, that is delta P. According to Raoult's law, delta P is directly proportional to X2, that is the mole fraction of the solute. So, delta TB is also directly proportional to X2, the mole fraction of the solute, which is not given here. We can take a paper and write it also. So delta TB is equal to a constant K into X2. That is equal to constant K into, what is X2? It is N2 by total number of moles. That is equal to constant K into W2 by M2 divided by the total number of moles. W2 by M2 into divided by total number of moles. As we have learned earlier, in the denominator part, the number of moles of the solute can be neglected. So the equation becomes delta TB is equal to K into, in the numerator part it is W2 by M2 divided by W1 by M1, which is equal to K into W2 by M2 is N2, number of moles of the solute. So number of moles of the solute divided by the mass of the solvent into the molar mass of the solvent. So here the mass of the solvent is in kg. If the mass of the solvent is in kg, then N2 by W1 is equal to molality of the solution. So delta TB can be written as delta TB is equal to K into molar mass of the solvent into molality, where K and molar mass of the solvent are constant, and hence their product K into molar mass of the solvent can be replaced by another constant called Kb. So delta TB is equal to Kb into molality, and that is how it becomes, the equation becomes delta TB is directly proportional to molality, or delta TB is equal to Kb into M, where Kb is a constant called molal elevation constant. Now, elevation in boiling point depends upon the relative number of moles, as given here in the equation, relative number of moles of the solute and solvent, but does not depend upon the nature of the solute, so it is a colligative property. Boiling point, remember, boiling point is not a colligative property, but elevation in boiling point is a colligative property. So here in this equation, delta TB is equal to Kb into M. And when the molality of the solution is 1, when M is equal to 1, then what happens? Delta TB is equal to Kb. So we can define here the molal elevation constant. So let me define molal elevation constant of the solvent may be defined as the elevation in its boiling point when 1 mole of a non-volatile solute is dissolved per kg of the solvent. And the units of Kb is Kelvin kilogram per mole. So once again repeating it, when molality is 1, then delta TB is equal to Kb. So we can define molal elevation constant like this. It is the elevation in boiling point when 1 mole of the non-volatile solute is dissolved per kg of the solvent. And the value of Kb depends only upon the solvent and is independent of the nature of the solute and concentration of the solution. From the definition of molality, as I had discussed earlier, delta TB is equal to Kb into N2 by W1 into 1000, which I have told earlier. The W1 is the mass of the solvent, N2 is the number of moles of the solute. So Kb into W2 by M2 into 1000 by W1, where W2 is the weight of the solute and M2 is the mass of the solute. From this formula, delta TB is equal to Kb into W2 by M2 into 1000 by W1. From this, you can determine the molar mass of the solute. So this is the second way of determining the molar mass of an unknown volatile solute from the elevation of boiling point. So this formula is also very important for doing problems. So we have discussed about how to determine the molar mass of an unknown non-volatile solute using the relative lowering of vapor pressure. In this case, we are determining the molar mass of an unknown